We want to make sure you keep your hands and cameras, everything below that level, please. We wouldn't want anything to get hooked up on the bridge as we go underneath. Sarah is your guide today. She's very knowledgeable and passionate about the city of Chicago. She knows its history, architecture, rivers, bridges. She's got some great stories. So we're getting underway here. Thanks for being with us.
All right, how about a hand for Captain Larry? Yay, Larry. Without Captain Larry, we don't get to go anywhere. That's no fun. So you've got Larry. That's the first thing you need for a boat ride, a skilled and handsome captain to drive us around. Second thing we need, though, is lovely people like yourselves to come along with us, so I don't stand up here and talk to myself like a moron for an hour. So I'm glad you guys made it. Thanks for coming. How's everybody doing? Hey, boat ride. All right. Yeah, it cleared up. That last one was a little bit hairy. You should have seen the clouds and the way the wind was blowing. It was a good time. I sat up here by myself. I got sopping wet, and everybody else went downstairs. But you know, when you think about it, I'm the idiot holding the microphone on a metal deck with the lightning. Yeah, good times. Fun. All right, so welcome you guys. I'm glad you're here. We're gonna see some gorgeous architecture today, but I also like to incorporate some history and folklore and other stories about Chicago. So hopefully there's a little bit of something for everybody on this trip. Let's get started with a history lesson. I call this part How Chicago Came to Be, the abridged version. So back in 1673, there were a couple of guys by the names of Marquette and Joliet. Jacques Marquette was a Jesuit priest from France, and Louis Joliet was a French-Canadian fur trader and explorer. They were hanging out up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Marquette, being a priest, he was trying to bring Christianity to the Native Americans there. Through the Native Americans, Marquette found out of the existence of the Mississippi River. Back then, European explorers did not know the Mississippi was there, much less how big it was or where it led to. They were quite excited to come and explore. They came across Lake Michigan, got to about Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where the Fox River begins. Fox River leads into the Wisconsin River, which in turn leads into the Mississippi, and they were happily on their way. Until they got about 400 miles north of the Gulf of Mexico. That's when they started noticing that Native Americans down south had all acquired trinkets and wares from Spain. France and Spain did not get along back then. Marquette, being a priest, he was a lover, not a fighter. He decided to turn around and head back to avoid any possible conflict. That's how they ended up finding Chicago. Kind of a big happy accident. On their way back up the Mississippi, they got to about the mouth of the Illinois River. So very helpful Potawatomi there said, hey, there's a shortcut back to the lake. Come follow us. So they got on the Illinois River, which leads into the Des Plaines River, which in turn leads into the Chicago River that we're all on right now, and voila, down here. We're going to thought that this would be a great place to put a settlement. France said that they were busy with other things at the time. They had a revolution or something going on. So things didn't really start happening here settlement-wise until the 1800s. In 1803, we had the Louisiana Purchase. That added a lot of land area to the newly formed United States. The government decided to put Fort Dearborn here in Chicago, as the westernmost port at that point, to protect us from the wilderness and beyond. I'm going to show you where Fort Dearborn used to be later on in the trip. At any rate, after Fort Dearborn was completed, people had confidence being garrisoned by the troops, and they started moving in. We became a town in 1833 with a whopping population of 350 people. Became a city in 1837, which is over 3,000 people. Today there's about 2.8 million people in Chicago, and about 9.8 million if you count the surrounding suburbs. That's pretty much where we are population-wise these days.